Hello and welcome back to Scrolls. As usual, we are hanging about on the test server. The reason for this is because there's been some new changes. Let's start with all the functional stuff. We now have a friends list. This will tell you who's online and who's in a match. And to add people to your friends list, it's really easy. You click on their name and there will be an add to friends button here. I already have everyone added, so it's not showing up for me. But from here, you can also now ignore people, which will stop their messages showing up ever, and you receiving their challenges and trade invites that they just won't show up. You can view their profile still, you can trade and challenge still, but now you can also whisper. And let's say I wanted to whisper to Mons and say, "Sir, this game still lacks some owls. Come on, get on that, winky face. Tips top." So eventually he will see that. Oh, okay. So the test server is going to restart soon. I assume that'll fix some of the bugs, like the fact that Rat King currently costs 3 on the scroll, but actually costs 4 to send. So the cost is now 4. Which makes it a little bit better, a little bit worse. But let's run through what Rat King is. Now, there are 9 scrolls I'm going to cover in this video. Oh, by the way, all my decay stuff now shiny! Although there's a weird bug with the border not showing up properly, but I assure you this stuff is shiny. Now, 3 scrolls in order, 3 scrolls in energy, 3 scrolls in growth. Now, only 2 of the scrolls in energy were actually released today. One was released last week with decay and I just didn't cover it. So let's start off with order, and let's just scroll through, and there it is. First one we've got is Fleetness. It is a 2-cost enchantment that enchanted units' base countdown is reduced by 1. This sounds extremely stupidly powerful. Actually, it's just kind of alright. It's pretty good. It's not stupidly powerful because it doesn't decrease the countdown of the unit as it's in play. So you couldn't play an Honourable General, cast Fleetness twice, and then have it attack next turn. It would still have to count down from 3 to 0. But after that, it would then attack every turn. So you have a small crash to kill stuff before Fleetness takes effect, or once players learn to save their Fleetness for the turn when the creature is about to attack, so that it gets the countdown immediately reduced. So Fleetness can be played really well to be a nice surprise ambush, but you're gonna know that it's happened before you get hit in the face by it. Now this is pretty powerful because you can put it on things like a Night Scholar and draw a scroll every turn from it, or put it on a Skirmisher and have it attack relentlessly every single turn. That's the bit that scares me more than the potential of there being 2 on an Honourable General, but that could still happen. So Fleetness, I think, is a very good scroll. It's going to be probably not going to replace speed, but it might work out something either to work with or work against Blessing of Haste. Because Blessing of Haste is good, for one, to reduce a countdown, but when you've got permanent countdown reduction of 1 for just 1 more, it might be replaced. Depends on whether you want to take out a creature for it or not, so we'll see. I know for sure it's not going to replace Imperial Resources, so we don't have to worry about that. Next, Redeploy. All your units on target row switch places with all your units on another target row. So you swap 2 rows around. It's like transposition, but instead of tiles, it focuses on rows. Now, I don't know. It's a very expensive combat trick. Maybe if I see more play of this, I'll find a really good use for it, but it seems extremely situational, and for 5 cost, there are better things you want to have in your deck than this. It's a nice rare. It's going to be amazing in stuff like Limited, when people are drafting and they get a Redeploy and just swap all their stuff around. But it's more of a surprise ambush from down below straight into your face as your units attack type scroll than it is anything else, and how useful that actually ends up being, we'll see. It might be a good way for Order to start attacking into a bunch of growth creatures as soon as your Honourable General ticks off down below. Swap them up to where the growth creatures are hiding and just attack. But again, it's a case of what do you replace? Are you replacing creatures for your spells, or are you getting rid of some of your pushbacks for spells? It's a hard toss-up, and pushback is such an efficient card that you have to... A situational card like this just might not make the cut. It's a cool, fun card, but I don't think it'll get much competitive play unless people find a really good use for it. Now the final new scroll added to Order is the Wings Soldier. This is a creature, 3 attack, 2 countdown, 2 health, extremely basic, and it costs 2. This is nice, I think. I think it's one of the things Order's lacking, if I go to cost, is these early game creatures. Because there's one. There's one. I forgot about the Sinmark Zealot. So we've got the Sinmark Zealot, the Royal Infantryman, and the Crossbowman at point 1. That's fine. 3 creatures and the 1 cost is usually about right. Where most are going, but with number 2 you just got the Ducal Infantryman, you don't have any other creatures coming out of Order. So the Winged Soldier fills a nice niche, it has solid stats, it's like a slightly faster Husk, but Husk costs 1 for that extra countdown, so it's a nice playable card. It's not great because it has no stats, but once you put it in an army and it's fighting alongside stuff like an Honourable General, then it's going to be doing some good work. 3 damage coming off of an Honourable General, 5 if you've got a Royal Vanguard, that's not something to be sniffed at. So, those are the Order scrolls that have been added. I really like the art for Wings Soldier. I know I say that all the time because of stuff like Wing Shield as well, with this huge amount of blue. I love blue. That kind of blue. Favourite colours, I'm just going to say this now. That kind of blue, plus black, plus very vibrant orange. Those 3 colours together, I'm just like... That was completely irrelevant, but yes. So that is those are the 3 new scrolls added to Order. Next, let's move on to Energy. And I know lots of people are eager to get really powerful stuff added to Energy, so... This guy, he's pretty cool. He's not like stand out and amazingly powerful, he is massive. But he throws his explosive bombs and they do a blast like a lobber for 1. That's cool, it's a lot of damage, it's potentially 4 points of damage. He's a really good guy if you've got him to soften up something before the main attack comes in. So if you needed to weaken a Great Wolf by hitting it once and then a Scattergunner can finish it off, he can do that. You can also put Concentrate Fire on him and he'll do 2 damage. You can hit him with an Iron Whip and he'll do 2 damage. Hit him with Desperation and he could do potentially 7 damage. If he's hit with Desperation. So maybe Desperation will start becoming playable now that we can put it on this lobber. That could be interesting. Again, Desperation's a bit too situational, but you can also use it as removal for 1-cost creatures, so maybe. But there's still a debate as to whether he is going to go into mono energy decks. I think he might. I don't think he's going to replace Scattergunner though, because you need stuff that can damage idols. And if it comes to be a choice between Scattergunner and Stormrunner, I get the feeling Scattergunner's going to win hands down. Just because of the fact that... There you go. I've played him 7 times, he's done 36 points of damage and killed 5 units, destroyed 5 units, so... No, he's been destroyed 5 times. He's pretty solid. The Stormrunner I just don't see being as efficient as that, especially now that Beast Rat has 2 health. That was probably one of his biggest targets, is if the board got swarmed by rats, which it can easily do now, he can lobber into them. He can still kill Mangy Rat, but now he can't take out the Beast Rat in 1 hit. Not that Beast Rats are a common sight, I'm just saying he can't even kill a Beast Rat. So he might have his place, especially in dual colour decks when he can be buffed by things like Focus. Next, the Solon Giant. This guy is cool. I don't mind that the statistics things covers his in-game art. His in-game art does not do him justice. Is there any way that I can show you that? No, because this makes no sense. There should be a button here that just goes roll and hides it. But, okay. Whatevs. Solon Giant is a giant, like... He looks like some sort of, like, facility at first. Just a big, like, dome. But when he hits countdown of 0, he stands up taller than everything on the board, sprints forward and punches whatever's in front of him. So let's talk about his stats. He costs 4 energy, has attack 8, countdown 6, and health 4. It's the highest countdown ever printed on a scroll. It's the equal to the highest attack ever printed on a scroll. So, he's very powerful, but Solon Giant does not count down. Pay 2 energy to decrease countdown by 2. This ability can be used any number of times per turn. So basically, turn 6 you can go pump, 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 and he punches something for 8. Now, he is not relentless, so he only hits the first thing on each row, which can be incredibly frustrating when it's a B-strat. And I'm saying B-strat a lot, and you're going to understand why soon. But if he hits anything of worth, because someone, like, because you dealt with something in front with Spark, maybe, then he can do some damage. He can deal with some fairly powerful stuff if he has that avenue to attack down. But it is important to remember that 6 countdowns a lot, and you have to pay 6 energy. So it's more likely that you'll see him being used where an energy player will play out their turn, realise they've got 2 energy left, and just kick him. And then they'll play out their next turn, realise they've got 2 energy left, and then kick him. And then their next turn they'll be planning along the lines of, right, if I do my stuff and then I kick him, he attacks for 8, and I can do all these other things as well. As opposed to turn 6, attack with Solon Giant, the end. Turn 7, attack with Solon Giant, the end. Turn 8, attack with Solon Giant, cast Spark. You want to do more stuff than just pay for your giant to attack. And I think it's getting that balance between making him attack really hard and making sure you're doing stuff on the board that's going to be the most difficult thing to get right with the giant. Also, in my opinion, it is more or less pointless to have 2 on the field at once, because you're not going to be putting resources into both of them at once. The only reason you would have 2 is if you want that little bit of extra maneuverability to attack either side of the board. So bear that in mind when you're thinking about just casting an extra Solon Giant. It might be better just to keep him in your hand until you get 10 resources, play him, reduce his countdown, and just whack whatever was not expecting that massive ambush. It's a cool scroll, but the fact that it doesn't have Relentless kind of bothers me. And once something else in energy can benefit well enough from Machination Mindset that Machination Mindset becomes playable, then maybe we'll see it on Solon Giant, and Solon Giant will become a very scary force to stare down. Now the final new thing in energy is probably the most disappointing one, Corrode. Cost 5 energy, and all damage dealt to idols this turn is doubled. It's not super amazing, because it costs 5. It's really expensive. You can't play a bunch of spells and then make all the damage do double. The only time I ever see this being fun is in an Essence Feast deck, when all your beast creatures hit an idol for quadruple damage. Wait, what would that do? Which would come first? But it doesn't matter. It'd be quadruple damage, because you deal damage, and then the Essence Feast would double that damage, and then the Corrode would double that damage. That could be fun. It won't work, but it'd be fun to screw around with. But in energy itself, I don't see a huge amount of use for it. Maybe with Decimation and Faith Chains in like the God decks. Maybe, because then your Decimations are doing 4 damage, your Faith Chains are doing 2 damage. That's a lot of damage. Now that I think about it. Once you've got your turn set up so that you can cast all those things at once and Fertile Soil them, and then you cast Corrode too, maybe it could see some play, but probably not. I don't think it will. I mean, God is never going to become Ged. That'd be cool though, you could call it a Geddon deck. Maybe we'll see Geddon decks coming at some point, but as an actual energy scroll, I think this is like end of reason. It's a cool scroll, but it's not going to see much play, I don't think. Because there's not a huge amount of direct damage beyond Metal Wonder in energy, and if a creature's attacking an idol, then you're probably already winning and don't need to do that extra double damage to it. Unless you're racing, which is really a bad position. Now onto growth. Now, growth has had one small change I'm just going to mention. Beast Rat now costs... Well, no, it's all the same, except it now has 2 health and can't be killed by the Storm Runner. Just worth mentioning. Now, first things first. The Breaker. Oh. And that is the test server. No? Okay. I thought the test server was updating and they was forcing me to move on, but never mind. So first things first is the Breaker. He looks freaking awesome, and growth has a 3-drop. Yay! I'm so excited to have this guy. Yeah, he's rare. He should be rare. He's 3 attack, 2 countdown, 3 health, and he costs 3. That's solid to me. That's like a perfect 3-drop. It's in the same vein of the 4-drop that's been introduced. It has very perfect stats. But it also has its ability, which is when Breaker deals damage, its attack is increased by 1. So what that means is that every time he hits something, he doesn't have to kill it, he just has to hit it, and he becomes more powerful. So when this guy attacks on turn 5, he'll be ready to take out a Kinfolk veteran the turn after. Well, not the turn after, the turn after the turn after. It doesn't take a huge amount for him to get super buffed, but really you want to think of him as a 3-2-3, and if he attacks, then that's just a coincidence that he's gotten that buff. You don't want to be trying to make sure that he deals as much damage as possible so that he becomes a super powerful unit, because then he's just going to get targeted down and killed. As long as you keep him sort of on a low profile, people will be thinking, that guy needs to die, but they'll have other things to focus on, like your veterans and your Great Wolves. So he's another solid growth creature, and he's looking like he could become very powerful. He's probably going to be in almost every growth deck, because he's the best 3-drop out of Breaker, Crone, and No ID. He is simply the best one. He's simply the best. And also, it is worth noting that he is within burn range, which means that he can die on turn 4 before he even gets a chance to do anything if he's playing against energy. So that's also worth remembering. Stagheart him once and he's out of that range. Bearpaw him, he's very out of that range, and he's a 5-5 at that point. This guy has just such solid stats that it just makes him extremely powerful and perfect to be played in growth. Next, we have a card that's inaccurate. It actually costs 4 growth. It just got that buff a second ago because they were feeling it was undercosted, and so they tweaked it. Due to just the play in the past 2 hours, they've realised that they think this is quite cheap for what it does. Now, the spell is called Rat King. It summons a Beast Rat on the target tile and on 2 adjacent random tiles. So you pay 4 growth, you get 3 Beast Rats, and I think that's pretty good. I don't know if I'm going to play it in my growth decks, but it does add you 3 blockers that just absorb attacks from things like Honourable Generals and Royal Vanguards. It also adds you a new target for your God Hands, so then you have extra 3/3 attackers coming in with your God Hand charges. You can fill your board with Beast Rats and just go for a massive Essence Feast blowout that will never work ever, don't ever try that. However, the other important thing to note is this could potentially see play in a growth order decay. No, just growth decay. I don't know why I said order. It could see some play in a growth decay deck where you've got the Junkyards, Pestis, and the Mangy Rats all together. So I mean, there are 5 rat scrolls now. You've got Junkyard, Mangy Rat, Beast Rat, Pestis, and Rat King. They could all work together to create this super powerful, like, rat horde. I think we need one more rat creature that can give buffs to other rats, and then we will probably be set as far as our rat decks go. There won't be just pure rats, but it'll be focused on rats with the splashes of other things, and it could be fun, it could be viable, especially with Mangy Rat dealing poison and having Miasma Well, and Pestis buffing things to ludicrous levels once you start playing Rat Kings. Full growth, it's alright, it's not the best. It probably won't see a huge amount of play, but it might see some fun play as just creating a bunch of blockers to piss people off. Finally, we have Sis of the Bear. She looks cute. She's 4 growth, 4 attack, 2 countdown, 4 health, and no other stats. So she's a very solid 4-drop. Pretty good the fact that she can absorb the majority of spiky units. She just gets hit by them and doesn't care. No spiky unit can survive her attack without being buffed. It only takes 2 spiky units to kill her, but if there's a Druid Burial Ground or a Vitality Well anywhere on the field, really, and she's just sat adjacent to it, she gets 1 point of health and she's okay to attack another spearman profitably. So she's just a great big tanky scroll that's going to swing in and kill everything. She's able to kill Solon Giants in 1 hit the same turn they come down. Well, not the same turn, the turn after they come down, because of the 4 attack to their 4 health. What else is there in energy that she kills specifically that's cool? She doesn't kill Gravelock Elders. Wait, she kills Gravelock Elders that haven't been buffed yet, right? Am I remembering that right? Oh no, she can't kill Gravelock Elders. So she has less power in... She has less power in... against energy than I think she does against Spiky, because I think Spiky is the key thing that I'm happy to be playing her against. The things that are in her, like, repertoire of abilities to deal with things in energy is a little less great. It is worth noting that she is in a good position to kill Kinfolk Veterans as well, and that is a big thing in Scrolls. If it can kill a Kinfolk Veteran, it's probably quite good. And with no abilities, it's kind of a bit bland, but it's a just perfectly accosted 4-drop, and I think we're starting to see this with Scrolls now. Just a little bit. We're getting 1-drops are usually 1/2/2, as seen here, as seen by the Gravelock Raider here as well, and usually they have some involvement in buffing later on in the game. Now we've also got this 2-drop that's 2/2/2, but it has 1 countdown. That's important to note there. Then we've got the 3-drop, which is 3/3/2/3. Now we've got the 4-drop, which is 4/4/2/4. Now we need the 5-drop, that's 5/2/5, and that's when things start getting a bit ridiculous. Once we've got a 5/2/5, a 5/5/2/5 creature, then I'm gonna start getting worried, because we haven't had that much efficiency with 7. Actually, no, we have, haven't we, with Iron Ogre? If I just scroll over to him, Iron Ogre is the 7/7/3/7. 6 drops, and we haven't got a 6/6/6 yet. Oh wow. Let's get a 6/6/6 creature, that'd be nice. So yeah, that's just my rant about the costing of this. I think it's pretty solid. I think it's a fairly good card. It's common because it doesn't do much. It's very basic, but I still think it's playable. And we'll see over the next few weeks while it gets its playtesting in the test server, and we'll see what happens to it. So this is my little catch up and check in on what's happening on the test server. I think I've covered everything that's changed recently. Don't think there's anything I've missed. I mentioned the Whisper system, I've mentioned the new scrolls, so yeah, it's all fine. And yeah, I got the look at the Solon Giant that I forgot last time, and all of these other things. Now you will note that Decay is about 6 scrolls down now from all the other resources, and that's simply because it's new. I'm pretty sure they already have the scrolls they want to fill in that gap, and they'll probably come either with Decay. They'll either come to the test server soon, or they'll come to the test server not long after Decay's out, because it's going to take a lot for people to collect all of Decay anyway, and once they do that, they'll be looking for more Decay stuff, and then they can release the patch that fills the gap. But yeah, I'm still enjoying Decay. I think Decay's quite fun. I think the one thing I missed last time was Miasma Well. That is extremely powerful. All poison damage is increased by 1. That is ridiculous once you've got 3 of these out and you cast, like, Infectious Blight. Enchanted creature has dealt 1 poison damage. With 3 Miasma Wells, that becomes 4 poison damage, and then it hops to a new creature. This has been changed as well. It now only targets creatures. Other than that, I don't think there's been any tweaks to what I said previously, and yeah, that's all good. Thanks for watching, and next time anything changes on the test server, I'll make sure I let you all know about it. See ya!